Hey, Algebra 2, we are trying to do a couple things here with arithmetic sequences. Arithmetic is a fancy word for, we're talking about adding and subtracting the same number, right? So sequence where the difference between two consecutive terms is constant, right? That just means linear. That's what we're talking about. And the common difference is kind of like dealing with slope. We want those to be the same. So whatever we have, first term, a sub 1. Let's see if my pen will work here. Of course not. All right, so here's what we're talking about. The first term, a sub 1, and then d is going to be that common difference. So we have a formula to work with. If you did any of this in Algebra 1, a sub 1 was used for the first term. So we're going to transition that here and just say it's a by itself means a sub 1. N is going to stand for the term number and how we find those. So that's our formula we're going to work with. You'll get used to it as we use it just a couple times. So the first question is, how do I identify if something is arithmetic? So all I do is I go like this. That's from 3 to 6, that's plus 3. From 6 to 9, it's 3. From 12 to 9, it's 3. From 12 to 15, guess what? That's 3. That means the common difference is 3. Some other questions we'd have to deal with is what was the first term? So that first term happens to be 3. And so we'll say a sub 1 or just a is 3. This one looks a little bit confusing because they happen to be the same thing, but we'll figure it out as we go. For part B, is this arithmetic? I go, okay, well, that's 3 and that's 5. I could keep going, but I already know it's not arithmetic because those numbers are not the same, right? That's what we're talking about for a common difference, a constant change. So we're going to end up doing some of that. So it has to be the same. So the next thing we're going to do with is, okay, I want you to find the 100th term. I've got two options here, friends. I can go 6, 11. Right, so that means I'm going to add 5. I can do that 99 more times and figure out what number I'm at. That does not sound very exciting. So what we're actually going to do is use a formula for it. What do I need? I need to know what a sub n, the first term, plus n minus 1 times d, got to be a 1 there. Right, so what are the things I know? I know the first term is 6. I'm going to add to that. I want the 100th term. So n equals 100. So 100 minus 1. And the difference was 5. That's going to give me a sub 100 because I want the 100th term. All right, so we got 6 plus 99 times 5. 99 times 5, and then add 6. So I have 501. So the 100th term is going to be 501. So not too shabby. And that's how we use our formula. So we're going to go rapidly and try and figure out what else is going on. So what are the second and third terms of the arithmetic sequence? Well, this is term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4. Just so we have some bearing of what's going on here. Because I get to use the same equation, but I have to solve it a little bit different. I know the first term is 100 plus, but I really don't know what the difference is. But here's the thing that I do know. I know that the fourth term is 84. So the fourth term minus 1, and that means its value should be 82. And so you see how we're going to use this formula a little bit different than problem A here, where it's just trying to find out the 100th term. I have to work backwards, but it's okay because I have one unknown, and we can solve anything with one unknown because we're pretty much rock stars at what we're doing here. So we get 100 plus, so this is going to be 3d plus 100 equals 82. That means we're going to subtract that. So 3d equals negative 18. So g turns out to be negative 6. Well, does that make any sense at all? Is my common difference negative 6? Well, yeah. I went from 100, I do minus 6, I get 82. So that means term number 2 should be 94. And then 88 for my two terms that should be in the middle. That's what it says. What is the second and third term? So I did all this work, right? Multiple choice somewhere in your life. If you do this, they're going to give you negative 6 as one of your answers. Don't circle it because the question was, what's the second and third term? So we can kind of work backwards as needed. All right. So we have just a quick review of those two things here. So if I just want the 46th term, so we know we want a sub 46. The first term is 3, way up here. We want plus, we want, what, 46 minus 1. I'll continue to do that because it's kind of a new formula. But if you get the idea that it's going to be, 45, 1 less every time, I'm going up here to find my common difference is 2. Pen's really not working with me here, so sorry about the way that looks. So that's 45 times 2. All right, so 45 doubled is 90 plus 3, so the a sub 46, we get 93. So the 46th term of the sequence is going to be 93. And then with our second problem here, I'm going to say that's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my key. I know 125, because that's the value, equals 80, that's the first term, 4 minus 1, and we're trying to find out what that difference is. So I get 80 plus 3d equals 125, so we'll subtract the 80, so 3d equals 45, so the difference turns out to be 15. Is that my answer though? No, we want to know what comes after 80. So it'll be 80, then we have 95, then we have 110, and those are my answers right in the middle. And I want to just make sure that works. If I add 15, do I get 125? I sure do. So those are the things that we were working with. Okay, so that's what happens if we have a whole mess. Another common problem that I see as we try and stay hip to the know with this arithmetic mean, so that just means we're talking about that common difference and what's happening there. So we're being told that it's an arithmetic sequence. So that's the only reason we can kind of skip out on some of that other information. That, and I don't know that this is the first term because it has some things before it. So we're going to work with this one a little bit different. I'm going to take 15 and I'm going to add to that 59. Well, you're talking about the word mean means average. Those are two numbers. So I'm going to divide it by 2, and that gives me 37 when I get done with it, okay? Because I'm going to have 74 right here. I divide it in half, I get 34. And so 34 is the number that should be in between here. So that doesn't really answer the question. It says, what's the missing? Oh, wait, it does. Follow-up question might be, what's the common difference? All right, so if I ask you about the common difference, well, to do that, I'm going to do 37 minus 15, and I'll get 22. So just be mindful if it's asking for the missing term, great. We did that when it was 37. But if I ask you about something else, about what's the common difference, 37 isn't the difference, 22 is. Okay, so it just gives us something to work with. Application, if you're going to get into architecture and things like that, we have to make sure we have enough space for the number of people that want to be in something like an auditorium, anything like that, especially in this one's curved section. So the first 16 rows, oh boy, first 16 rows, arithmetic sequence, there are 20 seats in row 1. All right, so here's what I know so far. 20 is going to be plus some number. How many seats are in row 16? So I'm trying to find a sub 16. So sorry, I skipped around a little bit there. I just want to drop things into the equation where they belong. So I also know this is going to be 16 minus 1. 23 seats in row 2. Okay, so that means I went from 20 to 23. So my common difference is 3. So a sub 1 is 20. The difference is 3, and we're trying to find the 16th. So we plug everything in. So 20 plus 15 times 3. Well, 15 times 3 is going to be 45, so 65. That means just in the 16th row, there's going to be 65 seats. Based on what we have to calculate or build, then that's going to give us the space we need. All right, hey, thanks for hanging in there through my pen issues, and I'll see you in class.